So maybe you've seen our videos about bike fishing and want to try it out yourself, but have no idea where to start. Well, we've got you covered. We're starting a new series of videos that's kind of a tutorial on bike fishing, starting with this one. And in this video, we're going to talk about the rod and the line. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers. And if you're new to the channel, if you're looking for information and inspiration about bike travel and about bike fishing, then definitely subscribe. This channel is for you. So a lot of you know that we've just recently moved to Montana, and it's really allowed us to kind of pursue one of our other passions, fly fishing, and combine it more with bicycling. We've kind of shared this idea over the last couple of years, and we've gotten a lot of people stoked on it, but there's still that stumbling block of where to start. So I really wanted to make a series of videos that kind of takes those obstacles away. In a way, it's kind of a, what I wish people told me about fly fishing video series. So for full disclosure, I am not a certified guide or a casting instructor. I'm an enthusiast just like you guys, kind of struggling, learning this whole process. And these are just some things that I've picked up along the way that seem to be effective, and hopefully they'll help you out as well. So for me, I know one of the initial stumbling blocks was which rod I should get and what's the deal with fly lines. So I thought I'd step back in this video and give you guys a kind of framework to think of rods and lines, and talk about it in bicycling terms. So fly rods come in different weights, all the way from a 3 weight to a 12 weight. So rods with a lower weight, let's say 3 to 4, they tend to be shorter, and they're meant for smaller fish and fishing smaller waters. So little creeks that are about maybe 5 to 15 feet across, or where you need super delicate presentations that only a really light line can give you. On the other end of the spectrum, let's say from 8 to 12 weights, these are your bigger rods. They're bigger just by length, sometimes over 13 feet. Sometimes they have 2 handles, and these are meant for your larger fish species. So saltwater fish or sea run fish like salmon and steelhead. So to kind of frame this in cycling terms, your 2 to 3 weight would be kind of your wispy carbon fiber road bike, really precise and agile. And on the other end of the spectrum, the 10 to 12 weight, this would be kind of like your dual suspension fat bike, meant for really burly and gnarly terrain. Some of you are thinking, where do Tenkara rods fit in? If you're not aware, they're a really simple Japanese form of fly fishing, and you use a rod, a line, and a fly. And because of its simplicity, if it were to have a bike counterpart, I would say it would be the fixed gear. Because like a fixed gear, it's fairly inexpensive to get into, there's less moving parts, and you do have that direct connection to the fly and the fish. So what's the perfect rod for you? Part of this really kind of breaks down into what you're hoping to catch and what waters are available to you. If most of your fishing access is going to be small creeks, rivers and streams, then you definitely want to look at that 2 to 5 weight spectrum. If you're thinking that you're going to do more big water fishing or ocean fishing, then you're looking at the 8 to 12 weight. And if you want something right in the middle, something like the Surly Crosscheck of fly rods, then you definitely want to get a 5 weight rod. The 5 weight is the perfect beginner rod weight. It's light enough that if you catch a small fish, they're still kind of fun to bring in, but it has just enough backbone, so if you bump into a larger fish, 20 plus inches, you can still bring it in. So let's move on to lines. If the rod is equivalent to the bicycle frame, then the lines are the tires. So basically you want to kind of match the line to the rod. So if you've got a 5 weight rod, then typically you want to get a 5 weight line. So fly lines come in different tapers, and one good way to think about this is it's kind of like how bike tires can have different types of tread or different widths and volume. Using our Surly Crosscheck metaphor, a 5 weight forward line would be the equivalent to your 28 to 30 millimeter tire. So general size tire, good for the road, good for some mixed terrain, and basically the tire you'd leave on the bike most of the time. Similarly, the 5 weight line on a 5 weight rod will do about 80% of your fishing effectively. That said, just as we love to monster cross our bikes. You can also do the same with fly rods. You can put a 6-weight line on the 5-weight rod, and what this does is that it'll load the rod a lot quicker. So if you need a more energized cast in shorter distances, by putting a slightly heavier fly line on there, it'll load the rod a lot quicker in the casting stroke and deliver the fly with a little bit more energy in shorter distances. Another way to monster cross your fly rod is to use what's known as single hand spay lines. And the taper on these lines, they tend to be fairly chunkier than your standard weight forward fly line. What this allows you to do is a lot of roll casting really effectively, a lot of spay casting really effectively. And what a spay cast is a roll cast where you change the direction. So this isn't the cast where you kind of throw a line behind you and cast it forward. This is where all the energization of the rod happens in front of you using the water tension. And I won't get into it so much in this video, but the advantage of that kind of casting is if you're in a situation where there's a lot of tree cover and bushes behind you and you have no back cast, you can still cast out pretty far and effectively just by roll casting in front of you. So that's kind of a broad overview of rods and lines and how they are just like bicycle frames and tires. The big takeaways I want you guys to walk away with is that a fly rod is like a bike frame and the line is like a tire. And while you should generally match them up, there is some different ways to have one fly rod but put different lines on it and change its casting ability. Also, the other big takeaway is if you are to get into Western fly fishing and want to get one beginner rod, definitely get the cross-check of fly rods, and that is the 5-weight. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, leave those in the comments below. I hope you guys found it helpful and it made navigating rods and lines a little less confusing. Definitely always reach out. I'll try to answer all your questions. I want to get a lot more folks, a lot more younger folks into fly fishing. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.